Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for being here and spending your summer with me. I'm excited to talk today about independent work tasks. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. If you don't know, I had middle school and high school classrooms, self-contained life skills profile of learners. Most of my students, although they were middle school and high school students, they were working at a kindergarten and first grade level. And so independent work tasks were a lifesaver for my classroom. And I hope some of these tricks will help you feel confident about trying independent work tasks as well for your room. All right, so what are the benefits of an independent work task? It's an evidence-based practice. We are promoting our students to have self-management, to work independently, to have confidence in their own abilities, to complete tasks and to do things. And so it's really something that truly supports them as a life skill, is being independent. It helps support generalization of skills as well, because you might teach them something and then they have a work box on it or a task box on it. Um, it is working also on fading teacher and adult supports, which is a huge component of classrooms. Oftentimes is we need to fade the amount of supports that a teacher provides, and so that they can build their confidence and build their work endurance. So these are just kind of the layers of things of what I feel our students truly need when it comes to independent work tasks. All right, so let's talk about low prep materials, the things that are like the low-hanging fruit for us that we could be prepping this summer. Oh, we're sitting outside getting a tan on, or maybe by the pool if we feel like prepping things, or just, just chilling by the pool. That's totally fine. Um, Task cards. Task cards are super low prep. You usually print them. You can laminate them if you want, just to kind of keep them a little bit longer. And then you just cut them. There's like usually a cut for, cut a grid and then you're done. You're done with that. So the task cards are usually my favorite, and you can fit them in these beautiful little cases. They're super fun. And then you can carry that case with you. Super fun. Boom cards, another great low prep material. You don't have to prep anything. They're digital. They're interactive task cards that are on a computer, on an iPad. You can truly take them with you as you go with students. So boom cards, I highly, highly suggest. The students get immediate feedback as well, which is really exciting. Puzzles and leisure for independent work tasks. We didn't think about this, but I had students that would work on puzzles by themselves, or maybe two of them would work on them together. But this is such a low prep thing, and a lot of the times you can find these at garage sales or resale shops, and really support your students in that way, to promoting independent work tasks. Classroom jobs, another great way. Delivering items, sweeping, wiping the tables and chairs. That's an independent working skill. So using that. Also, IXL is another great one if you have students that are using IXL. Again, another digital platform for math, reading, science, and social studies. If you're looking for some things that are more digital. And then any just online websites like a Pink Cat Games or Super Teacher Worksheets, things like that, could really help you keep it low prep, where you just print and go. All right, high prep materials. Again, I personally used to love prepping these high prep materials in the summer so that I had them ready for back to school. I would just like make piles of all the things that I needed, with like work task bins or work tasks, where they were high prep. I had to put the sticker on the front and all the materials in the middle, and I'd gather them and make the bin. Those are more high prep, where they might have directions, they might have student materials, they might have more things that need to go into it. Morning bins or morning binders. I've seen both of those. That might take a lot of Velcro, a lot of lamination. I would prep those usually in the summer, and those really could be independent work tasks as well. File folders, again, I call these high prep because you have to laminate the folder, laminate the pieces, Velcro, and then fold the folder and make sure it's all good. So I feel like that's more of a high prep. It takes a little bit longer. Any early finisher work or bins, again, could be high prep depending on if you're switching that out every day or weekly. It could take you a lot of time to do. And then sensory bins. These could be fast and low prep, but again, I've seen things from like chickpeas to rice to noodles where people are cooking and coloring them. And so they could be really high prep as well. But you can reuse them year to year if you'd like, or just make new ones each year. It's also good. All right, things to remember when working with students for independent work tasks. Teach the activity. It should be a mastered task, but make sure that you are teaching the student how to do the task or the activity or what the expectation is. But again, it should be something that they already know how to do. And I'll give you some examples of that in a little bit and show you what I have done. Um, Fading your adult support is huge, right? You want to work to back away from that student as much as possible and not be with them. So you want to model when you need and then fade as much as you can. Taking data on their level of independence as well is super helpful. Because that way you know, can they do this by themselves? Do they need help? Is there a part of it that they need help with? And then trying to fade from that. Using student visuals for the steps and the tasks also help. Visuals, I can keep on the table and you are independent with a visual. Me, it's hard because I need to be with 10 other students. So if I need to be here and prompt you throughout the whole thing, I would rather give you a visual and make you independent in that way and remove the visual when you feel confident and have the ability to do that. Something else I learned is creating a finish bin or area, and I'll show you a picture of what it looked like in my classroom. Um, and that really did help let the students know, like, hey, I am done. I'm going to bring it to the finished area. And that way a staff member or a teacher can check it. So that really helped with the independence as well, rather than them constantly, hey, check it, check it, check it. I need help. I need help. They would bring it to the station. There'd be a paraprofessional there. They'd check it. They'd let them know, hey, this is an issue or you need to fix this. Let's go back and try again. Those kinds of things. Because again, that's what it is in a job. Like I give a document to my boss. They go, I don't like this, try again, and I get to do it again. So it's the same thing. Let them try. Let them have the moment to give an activity. So there's been moments that I will show the student how to do the task and then I let them try. I step away. I let them do whatever they need to do. And if they get stuck, I help. But I let them try. And I also let them have a little bit of frustration too. Like it's okay to have good frustration and good struggles in learning something new. But again, this should be a mastered task, so there shouldn't be that much frustration, maybe a little bit. Most of the frustration that I found with my students was that they were mad that I wasn't by them or mad that a staff member wasn't close to them. And so, of course, making sure you're checking for student errors and correcting that because we don't want them to continuously do things incorrectly. I do have a picture here of my prompt hierarchy that is free. I will make sure there's a link in the group for you to grab as well. It's just a free visual. You can use it in your classroom. You can hang it up, post it throughout the room, give it to your paraprofessionals, whatever you need to do. But there's some prompt levels in there that, again, can help you understand a little bit more about fading your prompts. All right, here's what success looked like. I have both of these going at the same time. So this student was using interactive task cards online. And then this student just had, yeah, you can even hear it, had just straws that she was putting in a cup. So you can see that she's grabbing it, she's putting it in. She is doing this all by herself. This was an activity I had taught her how to do. And she did not know how to do this at the beginning of the year, but she worked on that fine motor skills. I'm going to show you one more time because I just love it. She worked on those fine motor skills of how to do that because you can see kind of she's got a little bit of her hand controls are tough, but she learned to use two hands. And that was one of her goals was to use two hands. So she knew she had to stabilize the cup. At the beginning of the year, she wouldn't, and the cup would fall over. And so she learned to hold the cup and then the other hand was too. And sometimes she would switch hands too. I loved it. And then I'll show you this one again. Again, those interactive task cards. Try again. He would have to go back. He picked it. Now he learned to go to the next one and try again. So again, he was one that would click it all super fast. And so his attention to it is something we needed to work on. But again, he got immediate feedback of exactly what he needed to do. All right, don't forget visuals. Visuals can be so helpful for our students. And so these were all of my students with their independent work tasks. So I would use these pieces on top and bring them over to connect to their name so they knew which boxes that they were pulling as they were doing their independent work tasks. I also leveled my tasks. So you see some of them here. My shapes were some of my lower level tasks, more my simpler tasks per se, and we'll talk about levels of tasks in just a moment. And then we had my alphabet letters. My alphabet letters, again, were more of my middle kind of group. And then my upper, more complex tasks, like I think this one was like a measuring, um, is then my numbers. So that's how I had mine leveled. So if it was a shape, it was pretty much a basic task. Um, Alphabet, more middle tasks, and then numbers were higher abilities. So as long as they could match the numbers or the shapes or the colors, they were able to find that task. All right, and here is my finished bin that I found super helpful for my students. So this was where they were able to place all their finished work so that I knew somebody could check it. So they had this finished bin here with all of the sharpened pencils, and so a staff member would come and check it. These were the pencils that needed to be sharpened. So they ended just putting all the materials in to know that we were done. So just so you know, this was super simple. I think I found these bins at Target. And then just put a board maker sign on top of it, said finished. So that's just it's helpful for you. So here are the work tasks that I would have in my classroom, just to give you some simple ideas to get you started with what could be helpful for your classroom if you're starting out. So these are a set of screws that I had. I think I found them on Amazon or Lakeshore Learning or something like that. And I gave visual direction. So it was put all the screws out, find the match, circle it, rotate it on, and I would show like my hand turning on it, and then complete it by putting it down, right? So those were kind of the steps I had in there. And then this one was just sorting two colors. These were bins that I had in the classroom. And I just created the work task bins from that. And again, these are just cubes I found. Just throw them in there. They didn't have to be fancy, they didn't have to be special, but they really did kind of help my classroom get set up with work tasks. Again, another great easy one is an old spice container with some toothpicks. They fit perfectly in here. So again, it helps with that fine motor ability if you're looking for that. Similar to the straw with the hole at the top in the cup. And then this one was pom-poms. So I had my OT worked on this one, where the student would use tweezers to pick it up and put inside. And some of them were itty bitty and some of them were really big. And so they got to kind of use the tweezers in that way and work on their grip strength. All right, also how to level your work tasks. So these were for file folders that I would use, and blue was errorless. I know it says match on that one, but maybe I switched it. Maybe green was errorless, and blue was matching. So anyways, now I'm seeing it and I'm like, oh shoot, maybe I switched it. But that way I knew if it was a green, it's an errorless. This is the blue, it's matching. Sorry, I switched those up. And then yellow was a non-identical or a sorting task. So again, a little bit higher level, and red was advanced, where usually it was like a job skill or they had to like do some complex math, kind of thing. So that kind of is how I leveled my folders. And I just found a dot sticker that I put on top. Super easy to kind of let me know. And that's how I kept it organized. All right, and so you're probably thinking, I'm not sure my learners can do this, Heather. Start small, do 30 seconds or 2 minutes, whatever you feel is super small for them, and do a lot of positive reinforcement. You did that yourself. Wow, that's amazing. Look at what you did, right? All of that kind of language can help them build their confidence over time that they can do this. I also used to play the like, I'll be right back. Because I used to have a couple students that would love to have a staff member with them, and they were used to it because they had a one-on-one all the time. And this was the time that my one-on-ones would step back. And so we would play the like, hold on, I need to go wash my hands. I'll be right back. Right. And so they would keep working, right, while the staff member would go wash their hands, and be right back. Or I have to go use the bathroom. I'll be right back. And so that the student would keep working. And so somebody else would go and check. Like, hey, make sure you're still working while blah, blah, blah is in the bathroom. That kind of thing would be the only thing that we would do to prompt them and kind of support them. But again, that staff member that we're so used to because it's their one-on-one, we would pull and be like, hey, they need 30 seconds to work by themselves. Go wash your hands. And so really just to kind of help them. Make sure you're taking data. Again, if my staff are walking around, typically they would be taking data on how long it took to do the task, how many prompts did that student need to complete that task, those types of things. And then, of course, try errorless work or quick wins like puzzles. Those knob puzzles are so quick. There's usually 5 to 10 pieces, maybe. And the quick wins, hey, you did that puzzle all by yourself. Nice job. Do you want to do another one? Great, let's do another one. And so that is really helpful. All right, so let's talk about the leveled tasks that you might want to try. Again, if you have a lot of the early learners, you might want to try errorless or put in tasks. That was something that really helped my students. The one who was using the computer, he loved put in tasks, but his attention was not great. But he could do a put in task very well. He could also do an errorless task really well. Pick up, put on very errorless work. And he would work for a long time with it. And so that really kind of did help him. And then I would go to like a matching task, identical matching. And then you would go to a sorting, either identical or non-identical sorting, and then more advanced, kind of like job skills or fine motor skills. So those are some of the things that you could do into that. So if you're looking for materials, I do have independent work test boxes that are leveled. You can either buy the individual sets or buy it as a bundle. You do save money if you buy the bundle, which I always like. And then you can work with various levels of students that you have. So I have errorless, put in, matching, sorting, 2 different fine motor tasks, and independent work tasks. So independent, like more job skill type things. And there's 200 leveled task bins in there. Highly suggest doing that because that could, again, just can set you up for success in your classroom. If you are looking for file folders, I have a ton of errorless file folders. I'm starting to gain more matching file folders, but errorless work was huge for my students. It helped build behavior momentum. It made them feel more confident in their work endurance and their work abilities. So I highly suggest errorless file folders if that's something you want. Obviously, it takes a long time to prep, but you can use these all year long once they are prepped. So that is also available. And then, of course, task cards. We love task boxes and task cards. Again, you can put them right in this little container here. Task cards were fantastic for IEP goals, working on independence through reading and math. Mostly, and I'm starting to gain more science and social studies task cards for you as well. So those are coming down the pipeline. So hopefully you can find a resource that you need for your classroom. And I will make sure all the links are in the group for you this week, so you can check that out. All right, let's have a great school year. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, please use the group and I'll answer as many questions as I can or as I see. But let's have a great school year. I will see you tomorrow to talk all about lesson planning.